Can you really make a living as a cash flow note broker? Well, if you listen to the pitches for the multi-thousand-dollar seminars, you're going to retire rich from your first deal. It doesn't work quite like that, as you expect. Now, the first thing you need to understand, the note business is simply another small business. It's a very, very good small business for some people, but it's still a business, and there's no magic bean that's going to make you rich without working. Suppose instead of opening a cash flow note brokering business, you decided to open an accounting practice. Do you think you could do that without having any training to be an accountant? Without investing any money in starting your new business or investing any money in your education? Without investing money in advertising? Would you expect to start making a profit immediately? Would you really think you're going to make $100,000 your first year? Would you think you might be making $500,000 or more in the next couple of years? That's pretty ridiculous. Well, you probably know something like 90% of new businesses fail the first 5 years. Well, here's the note business's dirty little secret. The failure rate for people who take the expensive infomercial courses that they see on, that they are advertised on infomercials, the failure rate for those people is 99% the first year. That's not a figure I pulled out of a hat. It comes from a study by Newsweek magazine and Jane Bryant Quinn. However, the reason for that statistic is nowadays the majority of people trying to broker notes heard about it on an infomercial. They were sold on notes as a get-rich-quick scheme, and they heard all sorts of promises, so their expectations are wildly inflated. When they find out that it, like any small business, is hard work, they quit. And then they go on to, invest brokering, I don't know, frozen pork belly futures or something. There are no studies, but I've been doing this for 20-some years, and I think the success rate for people without such expectations, who approach this as the serious business it is, and who are willing to work hard, and especially if they have some financial or real estate background, especially a marketing background, that's even better, I think the success rate is much higher. A final thought, please, please do not try to do this without having another source of income. I've got a little video on that subject. Should you be full-time or part-time? It's a part-time business for all but a few people. It is a tough business, and only the most driven people, most of whom have another source of income, survive to become full-time cash flow note brokers. They find it's one of the most lucrative businesses for them. They make a good to a great living. The potential is huge. I'll give you an example. The top 10 brokers for the biggest note buyer on the figures that I have, this is some years ago, averaged $8.3 million in volume, average per broker, in real estate notes per year. So if they averaged a 5% commission on those notes, they grossed $415,000 per broker. And these are small 1, 2, 3-person offices, those kinds of things. Now that figure doesn't include profits from brokering lotteries or structured settlements or annuities, which are the major categories of non-real estate paper. They typically produce windfall commission of tens of thousands of dollars and occasionally over $100,000. So at that level, these cash flow note brokers have a small staff, as I said, the typical overhead of a business of this size. Plus they spend a lot in advertising and marketing. These are brokers. Investors obviously make more, sometimes much, much more, on their yields. Every goal of every broker, the goal of every broker is to become an investor as soon as possible.